Well, I think I
computers suck.
gifted
There
all
we
of
go.
my drink tickets to Darren anyway.
I think I offered him one. I think I offered Darren one. I may be wrong. Darren, you here somewhere? Do we have you?
Yeah, I took all of them.
You took off. Oh, God bless you, man. Yeah, and I think that night it was like Coors Light, wasn't it? Coors Light was the beer they had.
No, I was doing mine for gin and tonics actually.
Oh, that's nice.
As soon as it's Coors Light, get on the gin.
Let's just go right for the meat, and I'm hoping Diego is here because I heard he was out earlier.
Diego's gone.
Oh, because Diego was working the booth. He was working the Black Magic booth, and I think not that there's not other stuff to talk about, but I'm assuming Jen, I'm assuming Darren, you guys both went over. You looked deep into the booth. What did you see that you liked?
I just have to take a picture of this because I've left a party and no one believes that I'm doing this.
You're working. Yeah, you can do. Look, I can see your credit card there. Look, got your details. Why don't we just run Darren's movie?
So it's the day before the show. I'm at the Las Vegas Convention Center, and Black Magic Design signage is everywhere. They are absolutely dominating the outside of this building. So just in case you missed it, DaVinci Resolve 18's out. So Resolve 18 is everywhere. Look at this. And this is the Blackmagic Cloud Store. This is the 20 terabyte version. It also comes in an 80 terabyte and a 320 terabyte version, and it's using M.2 drive. So this is super fast. This is faster than SSDs. And on the back connection, you've got really good cooling on the top there because those M.2 drives get really hot. On the back, you've got 4 10 gigabit Ethernet sockets. So this is allowing you to connect to the cloud. Because obviously this is not a cloud, this is storage, so that's how you get to the cloud. And then you've also got a 1 gigabit Ethernet port as well on there. You've got 2 1 gigabit Ethernet ports on there. You've also got USB-C connections, so if you want to attach external drives in addition to the storage that you've got here, you can do so. And there's also a monitor out on here, so this actually has got a bit of software inside it. The monitor out goes straight to a HDMI in on a monitor, and you can monitor the performance of the ports and how much storage you've actually used inside. So this is a great bit of kit. This is going to be super fast. So this one is the Blackmagic Cloud Store Mini. So this is 8 terabytes of M.2 drive, so again, super fast, but it's a little bit smaller form factor. This will sit on your desktop, and you've got 8 terabytes of storage in there. You've still got your 10 gig Ethernet and your 1 gigabit Ethernet to get up to the cloud. So if you're using the Blackmagic Cloud service, this is how you're going to get there. I think this one's going to be very popular. And this is the Blackmagic Cloud Pod. So this is just an interface only. There's no hard drives in here at all, but it's allowing you via 10 gig E to connect to the internet and upload your footage to the Blackmagic Cloud. There's pretty much something for everyone. So I've just stumbled across this little secret. It's called Presentations. This is coming to version 18 very soon, I believe. It's not in there just yet, but this is brilliant. This is allowing my clients to review the edits, but via the cloud. So basically I've got this as a library in the cloud, but they don't need to know how to use Resolve. They're not going to see my timeline. This just seamlessly plays my timeline to them. They can make notes and comments on there quite easily. Sorry, presentation just started over there, it's a bit noisy. And those comments and markers come back into my timeline. So just to summarize, I don't have to render out my timeline and upload it to the cloud first. They literally just open Presentations, play my timeline, and it comes through. But they're not seeing all the little individual edits. They're just playing a really nice playback of a full screen image of my edit. So I hope that makes sense, but it's going to be really good. What's it called again?
Blackmagic Remote Monitor. DaVinci Remote Monitor.
DaVinci Remote Monitor.
I'm never going to remember. DaVinci Remote Monitor.
Right. So there's also a new app out called DaVinci Remote Monitoring. This is a clever bit of tech. What this is allowing us to do is true remote grading. So the clients, if they have a proper grading monitor, they also need a studio license and something like an Extreme or an Ultra Studio. So both ends need the hardware, but it allows us to send from one station to another station remotely a true video signal through this app. Now you can control the bit rate, you can control the codec, and as long as you've both got an Extreme or an Ultra Studio at either end, you're going to see a true feed. So this is brilliant for remote grading feeds. Only thing with it at the moment is it's a Windows or Linux system only because it's relying on an NVIDIA graphics card. So, but the client can be running on a Mac without an NVIDIA graphics card, but to send, you must be on an NVIDIA graphics card. So this is really exciting, DaVinci Remote Monitoring. So this is really cool, 31.5-inch LG monitor, RGB OLED, does Ultra HD, has HDR up to 540 nits, but you can actually go to 700 nits, but that will invalidate the warranty. You can control the black levels in there, It's got an inbuilt calibration. You can use the LG software. You can work with something like Cowman. It comes with a hood. It's got a self-calibrating thing there. The model number is, I'm going to have to read this, it's the P95EB. And this is about $4,000. So this is a cracking little monitor. So with Bram, you all know Bram, CEO of Flanders. How's it going?
Good. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
What have you got for us?
Well, so the main thing we're going to be showing is the DM220. The 220 is a 22-inch RGB OLED monitor.
Okay.
And what we're trying to do with this is kind of target a kind of left out part of the market, which is that sub $10,000 OLED monitoring, especially for production environments, but also potentially for smaller edit and color correction suites. So haven't announced an exact price, probably be in the ballpark of $6,500 though, and coming a little bit later this year. So that one could be quite exciting for a lot of people, a good alternative to some of the $12,000, $14,000, $20,000 OLEDs on the market.
Okay.
And then,
what OLED technology is it?
So it's actually an RGB OLED. So it's an emissive RGB OLED. It's purely additive, so very linear response. So it's going to be, again, for people who want very high contrast, more of an SDR monitor for sure. We do have some HDR monitors coming quite soon. There's going to be the XM312U, which will be a 5,000 nit HDR monitor. We also have a couple of new large OLEDs coming. So refreshes of our XM551U and 651U. We'll be doing the 552U and the 652U, which are essentially the same products as before, but using a newer generation of those WOLED panels that have improved stability over time. So you're going to get less drift on those panels and a little bit better performance overall.
Okay. So is this got SDI connection? What's the connectivity?
Yeah, so this is all going to be 3 gigabit a second SDI. Any of the XM series will have 12 gigabit a second SDI. You can run quad 3G, you can run double 6, you can run single 12G. On these, we're going to max out at 12G because it's HD resolution anyway. Or sorry, 3G because it's HD resolution anyway. But they'll all support 444, 12-bit signals, all of that through them. So.
Okay. So can this do P3?
Yes. So you have a P3 selection. It'll do about 99 point, something percent of P3. It'll do all of Rec 709. It has a Rec 2020 mode as well. It won't do all of Rec 2020, of course, but it does have a Rec 2020 emulation mode built in. And all of these products are also compatible with all of our calibration solutions. So AutoCal, which is a closed-loop calibration system, Color Space, Calman, whatever you want. These displays will work with that.
Okay. What's the timeline looking like for your flagship series?
So the XM312U, we're waiting on some parts to come inbound actually to our factory before we can get those fixed, or not fixed, but get them built. I do think probably in the next month or two we'll start seeing those come out. And then products like this, we don't have an exact timetable, but certainly be this year. The one thing that we do have a pretty exact timetable on is the new 55 and 65-inch OLEDs. Those will actually probably start shipping in late May. So we're getting quite close on those.
All right. So I think everyone's getting very excited about these.
Yeah, and I mean, manufacturing's not easy right now, that's for sure.
We all love your products, you know that.
I appreciate it.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right, take care. Thanks, appreciate it. We've got proper colours geek out occurring here. Check this one out.
Hey guys.
Right, should be editing, but I'm on my way to the film light party. Get on with it.
Clapping. Thank you.
That's all right.
I wanted to run that because it gives people a bit of a behind the scenes of what the show was like. For those of you who've been there before, you probably remember some of it. Those of you may never have been there, you get a bit behind the scenes. So great to hear from Bram as well. As I said, long-time supporter of the mixer. So great to have them involved. We're running a bit behind. So for those of you who are in the house, we just want to have a little chat to obviously Jeff and Jenn, Darren, who were actually there. Jenn, what were your thoughts on the show? What was your take?
Well, I thought it was really it was both a little smaller than I thought it was going to be, but there were way more people than I thought were going to be there. Like they closed the entire South Hall, which is normally open, but there were almost as many people as normally are there. It felt like they definitely
collapse some of the space, and with the less space and the less people, it felt like it filled the rooms, because it would be a nightmare.
Mhm.
It would be a logistical nightmare for them if they were in the same space and it felt like you were in a ghost town. That would mean nobody
Yeah,
would come back.
it's true. It's
Yeah.
true. It was definitely like really good. I was missing out on a lot of the I didn't feel like there were as many like colorist specific chats as there had been in the past, but I think that they did a really good job with a lot of like, there were a lot of really high quality like talks and panels that were really good. I think I spent the most time at the Flanders booth. I orbited around the Black Magic booth because like there were just so many people there all the time. It was just so busy. But I mean, that's pretty much my experience was pretty interesting.
Did you go to the Film Light Mixer?
I did. I went to the Film
was
Light
that?
Mixer. It was, I think that they did not understand how many colorists were there and like really craving like the colorist meetup, because like that room was so full, like we almost didn't get in.
Yeah, they were overwhelmed. We queued for.
they were way over.
Where was it? Where did they have it? Because we do have some interest in this, funnily enough.
They definitely they had it at the Chandelier Lounge in the Cosmopolitan.
Okay, all right. And what did they do? Was it just they bought you some drinks? Did anyone get up and speak?
No, I don't think anybody got up and speak. It was just like, it was straight mixer. It was like drinks and hangouts and just chat amongst yourselves.
It was busy. They needed a bigger room than that.
They really did.
All right. Okay. And what night was that?
That was Sunday night right after.
Okay, all right, because we have to work this out for next year, what we're going to do.
It's going to be a challenge.
Who we go up against? Eh?
Well,
Monday, Saturday night, would there be
Monday they clashed. The Media Motion Ball clashed with the what's the big giveaway? The Super Meat.
Yeah,
and we got
that's a pretty safe night though. That's pretty safe to go up against, you know, when we go to sit down and talk about it, because the Media Motion Ball is very, very focused on motion graphics. The Super Meat is mostly a giveaway that's broad, and it'd be completely safe, at least for me, be completely safe to do it on that whatever night if it conflicts that way, because frankly, we're a different group than those.
I admire Film Light. They don't want to get involved in the mixer for some reason, but I wouldn't want to go up against their gig because obviously it's a colorist thing and it's their interests at heart, and hopefully I can go to their party and hang out with them. So yeah, maybe Monday we need to talk about it between ourselves, because we're keen to go full on again next year and throw back in what we were doing. Daz, we have heard from you, but any other takes out of the Vegas experience? From you?
I thought it was very because they had the West Hall open. So is that a new hall? You didn't even realize that it was the last day, and I went, oh shit, I haven't actually seen that hall yet. And I thought they're obviously doing something with the space to try and make it feel that it's not vast, and they're expecting lower numbers. So it was very random stands, which was quite hard work. You'd sort of go to a whole hall just to see two booths, where, you know, at like IBC, I feel like that hall 7's all the classic stuff that you want to see, and then you go into hall 9 and it's audio. It just felt a little bit random.
I didn't even make it over to the West Halls.
Yeah, well, I went over to try and find Dolby, but I don't think they were there unless anyone saw Dolby, because I was
Dolby was there. Al Mooney, who used to be with Adobe, is now with Dolby, and I know he was there.
Well, apparently in hall, because
I was embarrassed. I'm embarrassed because I was trying to catch up to him. I mean, I caught up to Joey. I caught up to both of you. I caught up to Bram. You know, that part of it was a really nice experience.
It was very confusing. And I think next year they're opening up the South Hall because they're redeveloping the North Hall or something like that. So I think it's going to be the same. It's getting very spread out. Do you know what I mean?
Outside of Black Magic, did you or Jen see anything that you said, hey, wow, I want to come back and take another look at this new product?
There was a monitor stand, and I can't remember the name of it. I was going to say it's Bolux, but that wouldn't be very good, would it? It was
Jen?
Poland.
Yeah, I've not come across them before.
I really loved the Sony booth. I thought they did a really great job with like really getting a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
They used like these blackout curtains all the way around the edges, and then they like dimmed the lights, and they had like cookies over the lights that were spinning. It was really cool. And they just did like a really good job of like creating an atmosphere. They did not have nearly enough people in their booth who knew the products to talk to everybody who was in the booth, but I mean, I'm sure that they got around to a lot of people, just not me.
That's why I'm pleased you showed the Bram interview. Bram was the only one who would just talk. Everyone else was like, no, you need to see Mark at 3 o'clock or whatever. I'm like, I just want to see you. You just, someone tell me about your monitor, you know? It was, it was a little bit of that, but Flanders as ever stepping up to the mark, you know?
Because Flanders is just great.
Yeah, well, and they had all their media light stuff on there as well, which was great. Those little media light, the little desk lamps. I've got one now. They're amazing. Those little desk lamps.
I was taking a look at 2 or 3 other pieces of tech. I was looking obviously at LucidLink because I think they've got some very not but you know, kind of overlapping with some of what Blackmagic's cloud is without having to own the hardware. And then the other one, because it's both doing the same thing as a level of caching, except the Blackmagic one does some local networking at the same time. And then I was looking at some of the AI technologies, and I've been playing with Datto's plugin, but I got a chance to see him, you know, demonstrate and talk about it. And AI across the board is something that I think is going to be encroaching into our space, not in a negative way. I'm waiting for that moment where you can press a button and it gives you every mat you would want of the objects, because it's been analyzing it in the background. And clearly Blackmagic has got some pieces of the beta that they're not shipping yet that do some object recognition. Looks very exciting.
Yeah, did you check out the Axel booth? Axel AI is great. All of their like metadata tagging is just so interesting. Like the way that they're able to like identify specific objects in shots, and like text, like talk to text is getting really big. So you'll be able to like, I mean, that's more on the editorial side, but it's like amazing that they're going to be cutting out so much like busy work for editors. It's going to be nice.
This is where Resolve is getting a little bit behind. That the old text stuff is Premiere are absolutely nailing this stuff, you know.
Premiere is nailing it. Apple is struggling with it a little. So is Blackmagic. So is Avid. Although Avid's got its own solutions. The solutions that are on the market that can drop into Resolve and Premiere. I mean, Resolve and Final Cut are very powerful. The ones that are really outside of in the editorial market, if you haven't looked at it, is Descript. I did a talk, by the way, on AI. And so, you know, Jen, so you know, I do some work with Sam of Axel. Right. But the two that I would encourage you to look at, if you haven't seen it, on the editorial side, is a company called Descript, where you can upload, you know, audio and with your video. You can take literally, you can cut and paste into a new document.
A little bit more contrast. Something's coming, I'll tell you that.
Somebody's audio is going on there, where you can take text from interviews and copy and paste them into a new document, and it forms an XML file. So you could literally, really cool. It is, and I mean, it's clearly going to be a lot of the future of editorial. The other group that does something like that was not there, called Reduct.video. And what makes their really interesting is that you can search into their text, but it can do a semantic search, meaning that you can say, hey, I want things that are a surprise or a celebration, and it'll find other interviews that have something interesting. And that's sort of the NAB report on that line. And I just got a visitor, so I'm going to bring up my cat. His name is Gabriel. There you go.
Fantastic. Good. Hey, Gabriel, how are you, buddy?
Hello. Here, now you can hear them. Now you can hear them, buddy. Here, they're now in your ear. Can you say hi?
Hey, buddy. How are you? Yeah, you've come to wrap up this session, haven't you? You've come to tell Daddy to wrap it up because he's waffling too much.
Can you give a kiss?
Yeah,
Wave. Can you give a big wave?
Right, we're moving on.
The show as well was amazing.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, quick, yeah.
To be back at a show,
sorry.
It was great.
Yeah.
You know, to have people, and it really was an experience.
Good. So we're moving on, and in the house is Mr. Stuart Pointon, monitor expert, who you may remember from our Monitor Mythbusters. A couple of years ago, we chatted about monitors. Stu's been doing some work with EIZO, and he's going to come and have a little 5 minutes with what they're up to and what they're about. Hey, Stu, how are you, buddy?
Good morning. Can you hear me okay there, Warren?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, cool.
You're good. Loud and clear. Stu's up the road from me. He's only up the road, so literally. Yes. Very.
So, I look a bit blurry. I had a big day yesterday, traveling 11 hours back. But anyway, happy NAB for everybody. Unfortunately, I wasn't there, but I just got some info back from one of our guys, Kevin, who looks after the EIZO in the US, and just some of his feedback. Interesting, he said NAB was about 50%, and I think probably a lot of that people missing may have been the international contingent. I know the Panasonic guys here didn't go. I've done about 21 NABs, and Warren, you obviously weren't there as well. So I think a big hole in the people attending was the international contingent due to the various bits and pieces. He said it was very busy during the first 3 days, and the fourth day, as always, is dead. The interesting thing, he said, even though there was less people, the actual people on the booth were more comfortable talking because I think because there was less people, they didn't feel the pressure of the crowds and what have you. And in terms of the market, the bigger probably corporation type or post houses, they're all seem to be going very well, ready to pull the trigger on buying stuff, but the freelance market was much more cautious. And for them, of course, the big one was the CG3146, the HDR monitor. There was a lot of interest in doing that. And just while I'm on that, with the HDR, I noticed there was comments before about learning about HDR and what have you. On the EIZO, as some other monitors can do, say the 319, you can actually have HDR presets, if you like, which will actually track the PQ curve accurately up to 300 nits. So if you want to practice and learn and get a feel for HDR, then that could be a good way for those wanting to get a bit of an idea how it all works. From our perspective, what we're doing over here in EIZO APAC for the colorists is that I've put together a lot of work on how to calibration articles and reports. And if I can share my screen, if that works. The EIZO APAC is a private company. It's not EIZO Japan, so got more flexibility to do different things. So I've created different things like setup and calibration. There's how-to videos, and there's a giveaway of the CG2700S. So on that is the monitor reports. So there's a heap of monitor reports on here that you can download. So these are all out of the box, verified with CR300 and CR100 with color space. And also we do some pre-delivery reports for the 3146 here in Australia. But I think more importantly, we're trying to do things like the how-to videos, because I was a lot of stuff on Lift Gamma Gain forum about how to calibrate monitors. So I've done the 3 normal ones, display cal, color space, which is what I use, and CalMan as well, and some other things with Color Navigator 7. And as well as that, we're doing things like post workflows, how to set up, resolve with EIZO monitors, all the little hints and tricks, if you like, how to get things working properly. And we've been doing some webinars. We did a webinar, and this is based for the Asian Pacific region, because such as this webinar, like it's mainly in 3 a.m. in the morning if you're from the US webinar. So we're trying to get some learning stuff and teaching and helping the colorists get their particularly the people who are new into the market, get their post suite set up. So the last webinar I did 2 weeks ago was how to set up your post-production suite and some very basics on HDR and what have you. And the interesting feedback was that there's a lot of interest in HDR still. So it doesn't seem to be doing the 3D thing. It seems to be ticking on pretty well. And it's there's people looking for it. And of course, everyone wants the, the sub $10,000 critical reference monitor, but I think that's quite a way off yet, to be honest with you. And so the price is the CG 2700 if you want to go and see what it's like, as well as the other reports. There's offsets as well. So I've got a CR100. So I've created offsets for the CR100 for the CSCG and the CG3146. And when I can get my hands on a client, I'll do the same. And I said, there's the workflows and stuff like that. So that's pretty well from EIZO's point of view. We're really trying to, from down our way, trying to provide a lot of support, a lot of solutions, and help the colorists in their, get the best they can out of what they do. So
good, man.
That's from me.
I've got a question for you. You call it EIZO, right?
Yes, EIZO.
I've always called it EIZO. Well, it's correct.
EIZO is correct.
EIZO is correct. So I've been wrong for 20 years.
Probably more.
So EIZO is, I get lots of things wrong. Mainly during this show, I've got a lot of things wrong.
No, it's EIZO.
It's EIZO. Okay, well, that's good to know. That's good to know, because we constantly refer it to as EIZO. And like I said earlier, it should be in the big monitor conversation.
Yeah, certainly the 314.
It's starting to going forward. So that's good.